Hi, Dr. Mazzano. I just want to add a little bit more to the video I am uploading previously. It was about 10 minutes and I had to stop, so I wanted to continue on. That video, the first video, is just kind of a broad overview of everything, and I want to talk a little bit more about how the model and the framework would fit into the music classroom, specifically my classroom, as well as a unit of instruction. Also, I apologize to you. I'm having to use my cell phone for recording because I don't have a webcam on my computer, so hopefully it'll be okay and bear with me. In an actual unit, I teach K through 5, so obviously my rubrics and how I provide their learning goals looks very different. For every class, I have a PowerPoint slide that I present to them, and I can show that to you and what it looks like right now on my computer. So what we have is, I'm going to show you my level 2, and I always present to them the scale. So right there, it's just kind of, I know you probably can't see it super great because it's on my cell phone, but it says all the parts of the scale. So a 4, to get a 4, they will perform a 2-part round with a partner with no help. 3, to get a 3, they need to sing songs using a clear voice, performing 2-part rounds, follow the conductor, show dynamics, tempo changes, and a fermata. So I present at the beginning of a unit, I will show them that broad scale, and then from there I break it down. So obviously score 2 is all those steps that we need to get in order to get to a score 3 or 4. So then I break it down and I say specifically, these are the score 2 elements we need to work on, and I give them a rubric. For this class, I said for score 2, we will learn to sing a song as a class. We will add in dynamics, tempo changes, and fermatas, and demonstrate understanding that we know how these work in music. So the students always know where we're working, and this PowerPoint slide is something I use in every single lesson. So every single time my classes come to me, I bring it up just to remind them of where we are, what they're working on, so that from there they always know what their goals need to be. And every kid obviously has a little bit of a different goal. Some of them are similar, but some students need more work in areas than others, of course. So, but they know what the end should look like. So that's how the rubrics and the scales work in the music classroom. For celebrating their successes, I like to celebrate when they get 3s and 4s, and this is something I want to get better about, especially when I'm teaching the whole school. Sometimes I overlook this, but the students love to play the piano. So I have my piano over here. And the students are always just wanting to play it all the time. So my idea is that when students do get that 3 or 4, they have the opportunity to go and play just a little something on the piano to celebrate their success. Also, the students love microphones. So I use that also as an engagement strategy. A lot of times if they can say an answer into the microphone, they are suddenly really motivated to be able to figure out that right answer. So I use that for both. Assessments in music are daily. I am always using informal assessments. Usually the students, I have plenty of room for sitting in here. As you can see, a lot of open space. So the students often work in groups on things, and what I have them do is they're sitting in usually circles around the room, and I am walking around the room and stopping to work with students who need the extra help, as well as seeing where they're at with the content. And so informal assessments are something that is a constant thing. Also, at the end of class, I always have students show me on a scale of 1 to 5, where are we? Also, like thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. I mix that up, but that's my way to informally assess how students are feeling about content. Formal assessments do come in. Usually it's of course, a pre-assessment at the beginning of the unit. Usually I have a couple, depending on how the complexity of the unit, a couple of formal assessments through the middle for that score 2 stuff, making sure the students are there before we have our final assessment at the end of the unit. A lot of the music scales actually are group work, even for a score 3. The students are able to perform rhythms in a group or sing in a group. So that stuff is something I'm able to assess as a group. For score 4, students often have to perform alone. So that's where if they want that score 4, a lot of times they'll come and perform for me by themselves. Direct instruction. Every beginning of class starts with direct instruction, where I review what we're learning, where we're going with it. Obviously, if it's the beginning of a unit, there is more direct instruction. A lot of times for that direct instruction, what I'll do for chunking is I will tell them what we're learning. For instance, my level 5 students are having to be able to read notes in order to perform a song. So what I do is I teach them how to be able to identify notes, and I give them some little helpers, and then we divide into groups and we practice the concept of it. We see where we're at. If the students are still struggling, we come back as a big class and we break it down where we're having difficulties, and then they're set free again into their groups. We use Kagan strategies, so they're able to work through that content, process it, and so the processing and chunking really plays hand in hand. After when we're into the middle of the unit, it's mainly just the practicing that is happening. Here in music, this a lot of times is a lot of it's group work. We have the instruments, and a lot of it involves playing the instruments. So what students are often, what happens is they are grouped up with a partner, and one person gets to play for amount of time while their partner watches them and helps coach them through some things, and then they take turns with that. They're very familiar with my expectations on that, and then I do encourage the students to really coach each other through this, so that gives me time to walk around the classroom and see what's going on. And then if I notice that there is just like one big thing that the whole class seems to be hung up on, we'll come and have it meet as a big class again, and that's the time for examining the errors in the reasoning. Students think this note is a D when it's really an F, stuff like that, and I show them where the error in reasoning is. Knowledge application. I feel that this one is often something that gets a little overlooked in music, and this is something, an area that I feel I need to grow in. Students not really understanding how the music works. That's something I want to be better at. So my idea in my current unit is students often get really confused about rhythm, and they know that a quarter note gets one beat, but they feel like a half note should get one beat as well because there's only one symbol. Two eighth notes they feel should only get one beat or get two beats because there's two of them. So I feel like I could really engage them in that and really form like almost like a friendly debate from that. Like students who think that in 2/8 notes get one beat, come over here. Students who think it gets two beats, come over here, and have them kind of research and experiment with their thoughts on that, and then present our findings to the class. And as a class, we decide how many beats that note gets. And I feel like this would help students remember better how rhythm works and how the beats fit. And also doing something like that would be very engaging for them. So using strategies, the various strategies I use in music, every beginning of every class I'm highlighting the critical information. I feel like students do need the constant reminder where this is what we're working on. We need to know how to read notes. We need to know that this rhythm. So constantly reminding them of that and showing them what my expectations are and previewing for them how those should look. Something also I want to work on getting better at is having them reflect on their learning. What I'm going to be doing is every student most likely is going to have like some sort of music folder, and in that they're going to set goals at the beginning of a unit where they write what their goal is, and they need to set goals for themselves on what they need to do to achieve a 3 or 4. And then halfway through the unit, have students reflect on where they're at now and what steps they still need to take. And then also a reflection at the end. Those reflections will be formal written reflections, but also I want to have the students in every lesson at the end reflect on the work we did in the class that day, and even reflect behavior-wise, where are we, content-wise, where are we, and so they're thinking about that. Some of the engagement strategies I use in music is I use Kagan constantly, which is like students working in partners and working in groups. It gets the students up and moving. We do a lot of games, like academic and non-academic. The non-academic ones are usually used as a reward near the end of the class. If students really work hard for me that day, I say, you earn this. It keeps the students motivated to work hard towards that goal. We're always moving in music, so physical movement is constant. I do try those students who are just kind of sitting to the side, not engaged. When it comes to our group work, I try to make my way towards them and really engage them in conversation. I feel like a lot of times they want the attention, and I don't want to give them the negative attention. I try to keep that positive with them and try to pull them back in. Students are very familiar with the rules of the music class. We have on our board here the letters that spell music, so the M-U-S-I-C. Students know that if I take a letter down, that's a warning that we need to, as a class, work on better listening and that sort of thing. If students only get that one warning and keep the rest of the letters up, they get a star, and I have a chart for all of the classes of the school. Once they earn a certain amount of stars, they earn choice days in music, where they get to choose the activities that we do. And they get really excited about those days, and they're very motivated to get those stars. Students know the procedures as soon as they come into the room. They're expected to sit down on the music rug. They know that we're going to open as an entire class talking about what we're doing for the day. So they know the expectations with that. With all my students, the biggest thing I desire is having a relationship with them and helping them feel connected. Of course, some students, it's really easy, and then there's other students where no matter what you do, sometimes you feel like they're hard to reach, and I really work hard to establish that relationship and have little conversations throughout the class with students to help them feel valued. I also do a lot of, I have recess duty every day where I see the kids outside. And that's also a great opportunity for me to build relationships with those students. Also, a big thing that we do in music is we have a star student. So at the end of every class, I choose a student who really exemplified good behaviors and good work ethic during the class, and they get chosen to be star student. They get to sit in a special chair, as well as in the next class, they get to share their favorite song with the class. So they get to show, as long as it's appropriate, obviously, a YouTube video of their favorite song, and they get to share with the students why it's their favorite song and what they like. Students are, they enjoy that, because there's the students who are shy and don't want to share, and that's fine with me, they don't have to. But the students, for a lot of students, it gives them a moment to shine in front of the class and share something they enjoy. So something every lesson is in every unit, every lesson, every day, communicating high expectations. The students in music, I do feel like specials, sometimes they feel that it's their time where it's fun and they're there to have fun, and I agree with them, they're there to have fun, but at the same time we are here to learn, and I'm constantly communicating that to them. Thank you so much, Dr. Marzano.